So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So let's get into it. So with the combine coming to a close and the NFL draft coming up very soon, I figured I would do a video in between that little wait that we have. Today we're doing Caleb Williams. What do I think about him? How does he fit with the Bears? Do I think the Bears should draft him? And I'm just going to be going over a few strengths and weaknesses to his game. So without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video. Today we're doing the Bears. So we're in that kind of a lull in the off season where we're done with the combine, we're waiting for pro days, we're waiting for free agency, and of course we're waiting for the draft. So I figured I'd go ahead and make a video real quick talking about some of the prospects and getting started with this draft process overall. Before we start with this video, I'd like to say thank you guys for supporting the last video. I know it's been a pretty long time since I made a video about the Bears. The last one I did was about Shane Waldron. You guys really supported that video. You guys were interactive. You guys were having discussions in the comment section. You guys were sharing some news that I didn't even know. You've also been hitting the like button and that subscribe button. So I'd like to say thank you guys for, supporting me and supporting that video. And I'm going to keep making this content for you guys and make it as enjoyable as possible. So thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And we're going to continue to keep doing videos like this in the future. But that's not why you're here. You're here to hear about Caleb Williams, my thoughts on Caleb Williams. Now, I will say this is not a comparison with Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. I'm not here to do that. I'm not going to get into any pro Caleb, pro Fields, arguments. While I do share one view over the other, or while I may make references or some slight comparisons, this is not supposed to be a debate between people. It's supposed to be an objective view of Caleb Williams, whether they should draft him or not, and what do I think he will be in the NFL, some of his strengths and weaknesses. So that's all this video is intended to do. It's not meant to disrespect anybody or cause arguments or cause unnecessary weirdo behavior in the comment section. So let's get straight into it. Caleb Williams. Everybody knows this guy. He is the golden child of this draft. He is the generational talent that everybody has been talking about. Caleb Williams is awesome. There's nothing else I can say. He is awesome. This dude, from the moment he stepped on that field at Oklahoma, he was special. And, a little story. I was watching Oklahoma get beat down by Texas in that game when he stepped on that field. He actually replaced Spencer Rattler, who was a top-rated quarterback at some point. Actually, the number one rated quarterback at some point. And he replaced Spencer Rattler, and after that game, he basically took his job full-time. That's how good he was. Our backup became the full-fledged starter for that team, and then went on from Oklahoma the very next year to win a Heisman at USC. Caleb Williams last year, he threw for over 3,000 yards with 30 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Unfortunately, he took 33 sacks, which is a really high amount. He had a 170.1 quarterback rating, and he completed 68% of his passes. Not bad. The previous year was even better. That was his Heisman year. He threw for over 4,000 yards, had 42 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. He took 30 sacks, so he took less amounts of sacks, and had a 168.5 quarterback rating, and had a 66% completion percentage. So Caleb Williams, this is the guy that everybody compares to Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, guys like that in the generational mold. I can come out and say right away that, he has some elements to his game that is generational. To me, personally, he's not generational. We use that moniker all the time for quarterbacks. I will say this: he is the best quarterback prospect to come out of the draft in the last 2 years. No, let me rephrase that. In the last 3 years. That's how good he is. But he is not generational. There are only a few generational guys to ever play the game, and most of them don't go number one. I'll just tell you that. The last generational guy to go number one was Peyton Manning. And we haven't had a Peyton Manning since. We haven't even had anybody to compare to Peyton Manning. Two of the guys that are considered the best players of all time, one of them is playing right now, is Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, who is retired. Neither of those guys went number one. In fact, Tom Brady didn't even go in the first round. He didn't even go in the second round. So, and those guys are generational talents to me. While he has some aspects of his game that are generational, he is not generational to me. I do see some flaws. I do think he's a little small, but we'll get into all that. So, Caleb Williams, watching him at USC was a treat for many people. I would watch almost all of his games if I could catch him. Of course, with USC playing at such a late time, I couldn't watch the games all the time, but I watched a considerable amount of his games. What can I say that hasn't been said already? There are no big flaws with his game. There are some things he can clean up, but there's no like, oh my God, this is a horrible flaw that can't be fixed in his game. So what I'm going to read you guys is some strengths and weaknesses that, some other scouts have come up with for Caleb Williams. Well, let me read some of his honors. So 2018, he won the Gatorade District of Columbia Football Player of the Year Award and a Max Preps Sophomore All-American. 2021, he was a semifinalist for the Walter Camp Player of the Year Award and the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback Award. 2021, he was a true freshman All-American by ESPN, 247 Sports, On 3, and Pro Football Focus. Two of those names are some of the best in the business. 2022 is the Sporting News College Football Player of the Year. 2022, he was also the Walter Camp Award winner. 2022, he was also the Maxwell Award winner. He also was the Heisman Trophy winner that year as well. So he has the accolades. He has all the accolades you would want in a quarterback coming out of college. He also holds a single season record for total offense for USC. Most touchdowns scored, rushing and passing completions, passes attempted, most passing yards gained, most touchdown passes thrown. All the awards, all the accolades that you would want in a quarterback. So this guy's a winner. He's a natural winner. So I'm going to get into some of his strengths and weaknesses and see how I think about him. So the first strength that I have on the list is he has an elite overall arm talent and can make pretty much any throw, even when off balance. He has a, quote, Mahomes vibe to his play. I do agree with that statement. Caleb Williams, when you watch Caleb Williams, what comes to mind? He is an elite playmaker. When things break down in that pocket and he's able to get outside that pocket and run that scramble drill, run that backyard style offense, that's when he's at his best. To me, he can make that throw off balance. He can make that throw off his back foot. He can make that throw across the field. He can make that throw, falling down or whatever. He can make that throw, with just a flick of his wrist. While he does have that elite arm talent, and he can make pretty much any throw from anywhere, he does not have a Mahomes vibe to him, in my opinion. To me, I see more of a Kyler Murray type vibe and an Aaron Rodgers type vibe than Mahomes. Mahomes is ridiculous. You can't compare anybody to that. And I would say with Mahomes, he has a lot more zip in his passes than Caleb does, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes' arm is just unbelievable. He's able to thread the ball in some places where people aren't able to thread the ball. He's able to do things that players in league now, some people who have won MVPs, are unable to do. And that's why Patrick Mahomes is a 3-time Super Bowl winner. I don't think it's pretty much fair to Patrick Mahomes or any NFL quarterback to be compared to a college quarterback, especially a guy who hasn't taken an NFL snap. While he does have some elements of Mahomes, not every quarterback that can run and throw the ball is Patrick Mahomes. So let's put that to bed. While I do agree with the first statement that he has elite overall arm talent, his arm is unbelievable, I do not agree with the Patrick Mahomes comparison. He did put up ridiculous numbers in 2022 at USC, where he rightfully won the Heisman. This guy can put up volume. He's having 300-yard throwing games a night. I will say playing in the Pac-12 does help with that a little bit. Playing in the Pac-12 does help where defenses aren't necessarily prioritized. People make the excuse, teams like the Big Ten and the SEC are overrated because they don't have good offenses. At the same time, the same Big Ten teams that they talk crap about are the same Big Ten team that just won the national championship game by playing defense. So don't give me that. The Pac-12 is known for not playing defenses. Is known for not playing defense. It's known for it's a conference that's known that's going to be a shootout conference. It has a lot of West Coast style offenses to it. They don't really prioritize defense in the Pac-12 like that. So yeah, you can put up ridiculous numbers. That being said, he does have some very, very good performances where he's been able to throw for over 300 yards and look like a spectacular player. He did rightfully win that Heisman. There was nobody near close to Caleb Williams that year. I do agree with that statement. He has an almost unique ability to pull off spectacular plays and saves his best for when the chips are down. That is true. He does play his best when you need him to. He does play very well under pressure. He runs a 3-minute drill really well. When he's behind, when they are behind, in very rare instances, especially when they put up that many points, he does have an ability to save the game for his team. He does have the clutch gene to him. He's able to drive the length of the field and get scores. He does have the ability to play off spectacular plays when you most need him to. Just when you think you have him hemmed in, he makes a spectacular play. He breaks a tackle, is running to his left and throws all the way back to his right. He has that type of ability to him. He's able to bunker down, stay composed when you need him to drive the length of the field. And if it's not getting a field goal, it's getting a touchdown. I agree with that statement. His play doesn't drop off when under pressure. He made an array of quality passes while trying to avoid a heavy pass rush. I do agree with that to a degree. With his high time to throw and with his ability to make plays outside of the pocket, that does give the aura of, he doesn't drop. He is able to deal with pressure a little bit more compared to a Drake May, compared to a Michael Penix. That being said, that Notre Dame game was kind of bad for him, and that's because they were playing a specific style of defense where they were taking away the run read and making him go through all these different reads around the field and all these progressions. When you're able to do that and you're able to create a pass rush where he can't just lock in like that, he does seem to struggle when you put a consistent pass rush around him because he is little and he is small. And of course, any quarterback, when you put pressure on him, is going to struggle. That's just the way of the world. That's just the way it works. We've seen Patrick Mahomes at times kind of drop off when he's under pressure, especially in that Super Bowl against Tampa. And this is the guy that just beat down San Francisco in the overtime game in the Super Bowl. But everybody has those moments where they're consistently under pressure. Guys who have come out in the past 5 years, or there have been guys like Justin Fields who can make plays off structure. But in the NFL, you're not going to have all that time to run around. Guys are 10 times faster. Guys are 10 times better. And, when he does seem to, just like with any quarterback, if you're able to get a good pass rush on him, he's going to struggle a little bit more. That being said, he does not get skittish like some other quarterbacks when they are under pressure. So I do agree with that statement. His play is consistently top-notch, being on a team with serious O-line problems and only limited blocking help from backs. That is a design of the offense. That's not really a flaw of Caleb Williams. I would take that out as a strength because that's just the way they do offense there at USC. And for any Lincoln Riley run team, they play exclusively out of shotgun and they don't really block backs because they have backs that leak out. They run a lot of screens. They run a lot of RPOs. So, while it is, it does tie into the point I just made about when you get consistent pressure on him, that he will struggle, but he doesn't get rattled. So that's kind of like a redundant point to me. But I will say he does maintain that aura of, I can still win this game. I can still put up those numbers. I can still get us to where we need to go when I'm under pressure, when I have some issues with blocking. He is a huge threat with his legs. His play fakes are outstanding, and Williams has the ability to manipulate safeties with his eyes. All three things are true. I will say he's not the biggest threat with his legs as he is with his arm. He's definitely more of a throwing quarterback than a rushing quarterback. While he can rush the ball, it's not like a Lamar Jackson or a Justin Fields, where those guys, you have to specifically game plan for them to not even break the pocket or else they're going to run. Caleb Williams, when he's behind the line of scrimmage, just like Justin Fields, he's going to look to throw the ball first before he starts running. And I don't see Caleb Williams rushing for 1,000 yards in the NFL. That being said, when you do need a play to be made with his legs, he will make that play. He will run for that first down. He will take that hit to get that first down. He will gash your defense and run for a touchdown if needed occasionally. They don't really run a lot of play fakes at USC, but I guess he can do it as well, just because teams fear his legs so much in college. So I will agree with that. He does have the ability to manipulate safeties with his eyes. Again, USC does play a little one read style offense, so I don't really see that much of that. Those are kind of intricate details where if you don't have access to an all 22, you're not going to see that unless they show the replay. So, I will agree with that strength. I do think he is a huge threat with his legs. He's good. He's a good athlete. So, they mentioned he's a pure athlete, loose-minded and flexible. Williams has the speed to pick up yardage in scramble situations. I will say, with the athlete thing, you already have an athlete with Justin Fields. You don't need another athlete. Like, if you're just basing drafting a quarterback based on his athleticism, then you already have that. You already have a guy that's 10 times bigger that can run and can make plays with his legs and just make all these athletic plays on the field. You already have that. To me, Caleb Williams is not the athlete that Justin Fields is. He does have okay speed, but he's not as big, he's not as strong, and he prefers to play behind the line of scrimmage while throwing the ball. He's going to look to throw the ball downfield when he's scrambling rather than trying to break that tackle and, trying to gash guys for about a 60-yard run to the end zone. That's not really his game. He is a good athlete, but you already have a very good athlete in Justin Fields. And to me, Caleb Williams does kind of have that stiffness to his game when he's scrambling. But, I partially agree with that statement. He does have elite accuracy. I'm not going to harp too much on that because they touched on that earlier. He's a natural leader. He does have some maturity issues at times. I don't think they're character concerns like other people are making it out to be. He's not a cancer like some people will make him out to be. I do think he does suffer some maturity concerns, but this guy wants to win. If you hear all his teammates talk about him, if you hear his coaches talk about him, he's a guy that actually cares about the game. Just like Justin Fields, he cares about the game. He wants to win. He wants to win at the highest level. So I agree with that. And the last thing they state is like Williams can throw the ball efficiently on the run. He's at his best on bootlegs and play action and all that stuff. Same things that Justin Fields can do. It's just Caleb Williams can do it as well. So, and they have the number 1 overall pick. Some of the weaknesses. Now, my biggest weakness with Caleb Williams, he's 6'1", 215. That is small, and he might not even be 6'1". He might be 5'11". That dude is small. I don't really care what Mark Silverman says. That dude is small. He got these little bitty legs. He's kind of he's a little bit bigger than Kyler Murray, but he's really small. And we just saw with Bryce Young. Bryce Young really does struggle to throw the ball when he's sitting back there in the pocket, especially trying to throw over those big linemen. Combine that with Caleb Williams' ability to hold the ball for a very long time, and not only hold the ball for a very long time, but hold it very loosely in his hands. He's going to get stripped a lot. He led the FBS in fumbles last year. And part of that is because of his size. Part of that is because of his hand size. And part of that is because he always looks for the big play. He's not trying to check the ball down. If he doesn't see the deep pass, he's going to either run or he's going to throw it away, or he's going to hold it and take a sack, which is why he had such a high sack number last year. And that's going to be a problem. And with him being 6'1", 215, I do think that injuries will be a big concern. He might not be able to take all that punishment if the Bears don't select a good lineman. He might not be able to take that punishment like Justin Fields can. You know, we talk about Justin Fields' ability to stay in games, but unless it's a serious injury, he's going to play that game. I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be able to take all the hits that Justin Fields does. I don't know if he's going to be able to take all that pressure that Justin Fields does. That's just a concern that I have, and it's clearly a concern some of the scouts have. So his size and his ability to hold the ball for a long time does make him, does kind of knock down that grade a little bit. Number 2, he has exclusively played in shotgun. All Lincoln Riley offenses play in shotgun. That's a problem, because they play a one-read system of offense, and the same thing we struggle with Justin Fields right now, whether that be through scheme or personnel or whatever it is. They have problems. Quarterbacks like that have problems when it's time to time stuff up. He is a one-read quarterback. I'm sorry. Most of his highlights come from one read, come from scrambling. A lot of his highlights don't come from the pocket presence. A lot of his highlights don't come from the pocket. And it's because they do a lot of horizontal, a lot of RPO, and that's what USC uses to get yards. They use a lot of screens, they use a lot of RPO, they use a lot of player options. I do have some questions on whether he's going to be able to time up that route. Just because he's such a good playmaker, I do have some questions as if he's going to see the field fully when he gets to the NFL, when things are going to speed up and when guys are going to be coming at him a little bit faster. That's a concern. Now, I don't think it's as big as a concern as people are making it out to be, but we've seen guys like Baker Mayfield, we've seen guys like Jalen Hurts, we've seen guys like Kyler Murray. They've had success at times. Other times, when you force them to play on schedule, they do kind of struggle because of their size and because they played that way in college. So that is a concern. And the other thing that they mentioned is his mechanics are hit or miss. Again, if you don't have access to the All-22, you might not notice that as much. I will say, because of his arm talent, that does kind of get lost. The mechanics do kind of get lost. He doesn't have as good of mechanics as, say, a Drake May or a Michael Penix Jr. That can be fixed. Shane Waldron is known to work with guys on their mechanics, work with guys on their footwork, and while not changing everything about their game like Luke Getsy did with Justin Fields. So if the Bears do go that route with Caleb Williams, I have no doubt that they'll be able to, mess with his footwork and kind of fix his footwork a little bit, maybe make it a little bit faster, maybe make it, less sloppy, or, just to bring out the best of him for the Chicago Bears. But overall, I will say that Caleb Williams is undoubtedly the best quarterback prospect in this draft. He's the guy. If you're going to take a quarterback, you got to take Caleb Williams, in my opinion. It's either Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, in my opinion. These are two guys that are kind of similar in their games. One's bigger than the other. One can make all the throws. One is a little bit faster. The other one has that elite arm strength. That fast release. Just kind of like it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. They're kind of the same player, in my opinion. While Justin Fields doesn't have the numbers or the accolades, they both kind of do the same thing. They both like to, make plays outside of the pocket. They both excel in play action situations. They both excel when they throwing the ball deep. It's kind of the simple stuff that they struggle with. Either it's throwing the ball short or taking what the defense gives to them or holding the ball too long. The only difference between the two is the one is a little bit bigger and one is a much better rusher and, it has just as strong of an arm. The other one is just a little bit smaller and is not as fast. And that's just my opinion on the situation. So, with all that being said, do I think the Bears should draft Caleb Williams? I don't know. Me personally, I think it would be more beneficial for the Bears to trade the pick down to number 2 and take the haul for Caleb Williams and then build a team around Justin Fields. That being said, if they do draft Caleb Williams, I wouldn't be overly upset unless they missed on one of those top flight receivers like a Malik Neighbors or like a Rome Odunze or even Marvin Harrison for that matter, because I do think for Williams to succeed with his size, with coming from a background like USC or Lincoln Riley's offense, where it's playing more one read, a guy who's a little bit smaller, a guy who's not going to be able to, shrug off a 300-pound lineman to kind of make a play out of nothing. He's not going to be able to do that. A guy who kind of has the same flaws as Justin. If we do wind up drafting Caleb Williams and we don't draft the receiver, I will be pretty upset because all the guys that were supposed to hit free agency are now been tagged. So, me personally, I think they should keep Justin Fields, but I wouldn't be upset with them drafting Caleb Williams. At the end of the day, one's a shiny toy, one's just a shiny new toy that people want. Both are very good quarterbacks. Both can be superstars in the league when in the right situation. I just think, me personally, I do think that keeping Justin Fields is the best option for the Chicago Bears. They kept Matt Eberflus. Marvin Harrison Jr. is in this draft, who is my best overall prospect in this draft. But if they do wind up drafting Caleb Williams, I wouldn't be upset unless they don't build around him or give him a bad hand like they gave Justin Fields in his first few years. So overall, Caleb Williams is by far the best quarterback prospect coming out of this draft. I don't see Patrick Mahomes. I don't see that. I see a bigger Kyler Murray. That's his floor. I might see Aaron Rodgers before I see Kyler Murray. Before I see Patrick Mahomes in his game. I see a lot more Aaron Rodgers in his game. With some of the way he can throw the ball off platform. But at his floor, to me, is a bigger Kyler Murray. So I would be happy with Williams as long as they build around him. He's clearly the best quarterback in this draft. He has all the things that pop on tape for you. It's just a matter of what the Bears want to do. Either way it goes, if the Bears decide to draft Caleb Williams or keep Justin Fields and build around him, as long as they build around the guy that they committed to, I'm happy with it. But overall, I like Caleb Williams. I'm going to give him an A+ as a prospect. Clearly the best quarterback in this draft. Can come in and be a starter. In the right situation, can be a superstar. I like Caleb Williams. I think he will be a good player in this league for whoever he goes to. But as always, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think the Bears should draft Caleb Williams? What are your thoughts about Caleb Williams? Do you think he's generational or not? If they do draft Caleb Williams, who do you think they should support him with? Or do you guys think they should keep Justin Fields and build a team around him? So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop one of these Bears videos. The draft is coming up soon, so make sure you guys follow me on social media. And we're still on the lookout for any potential trades and free agent moves, so make sure you guys follow me on social media for that. But as always, guys, bear down, and I'm out. Peace.